All right, welcome back everybody, and today I'm going to ask you a question, and that is, should I go ahead and buy an electric vehicle? So I want this to be not me lecturing you about cars like most of my other vehicles have been, giving my opinions about things. I want this to be more of a conversation. I want you to respond to me. So if you haven't been here, please click that subscribe button, click that little bell next to it, like the video, and leave me a comment below. Let me know your thoughts, because this is going to be more of a vlog than anything else. I'm going to open up a little bit about me, where I live, my driving habits, my mentality, and I'm asking you, should I buy an electric vehicle? I have a strong opinion one way or the other, but I'm curious your thoughts. And so where this came from is actually my wife asked me earlier this week, why don't you just buy an electric vehicle? And I was a little surprised. So to set the stage here, right, I am frugal, right? Some might say I'm cheap, right? I drive a 2014 Honda Accord. My wife, all four of our children, we all drive used vehicles, okay? And I prioritize something mid-size-ish, durability, reliability, great gas mileage. I hate gas. I hate stopping to fill up with gas. And when I asked my wife, why did she ask me this question? It's because the people she works with who have electric vehicles love them, right? They love not stopping to fill up with gas. They love the high tech that you get in those vehicles. And thinking about my driving habits, she thought it'd be a really good fit. And I admit I'm kind of curious. The idea of coming home, plugging it in, and forgetting about it, I really like that, not having to stop and fill up with gas. But I have range anxiety, if we're honest, right? As well as price anxiety. I hate car payments. So certainly I can afford a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 car, but I don't want that. I want something substantially less, which is why I buy used. But yeah, used EVs are another issue of themselves. So I started thinking about this question, and have EVs progressed to a point where maybe it's time for me to start considering them? So the first thought is that, I have some clients who have driven EVs, and certainly I have one right now. He has a Tesla Model 3, and we were talking about it, and I made a comment, and he's like, range anxiety. And he told me a story that they just recently driven to Texas, and it was no big deal. They drove X number of hours. When they stopped for food, they plugged it in, and while they ate, it charged, and they just kept on going. They never really had to stop and think about it. That got me really thinking. So I started to look at cars, and first off, I view cars in kind of four different categories regarding the powertrains. The first is those liquid petroleum fueled ones, right? Gas and diesel. I'm not looking at a diesel, period. But gasoline powered, those are going to be the least expensive you've got out there. Think about Honda Accord LX gas. Reliable, durable, gas-powered, least expensive you're going to get. The next up would be the hybrids. And there's a lot of options out there. Certainly you've got the Prius and its super advanced technology. You've got the Camry, the Honda Accord, others as well as like the Ford Fusion hybrid, using a gas and a hybrid engine involved with batteries. Really, really cool. They tend to be a little bit more expensive, but really, really cool technology. I kind of waffle on them, although I find them really, really cool to drive. I would say the next up would be the Chevy Volt. I think this is a great concept, although I don't like the execution that Chevy used. That it's electric, but there's an engine to back it up and extend the range. Really, really love that. I thought that was the future, but then Chevy comes out with the Volt, and it's a little small, the back seat's tight, the styling's a little generic or funky. It's really awesome. I bet I would love one. And then you get to the full EVs. Now, there's a lot of electric vehicles out there. Hyundai and Kia both have electric vehicles. You know what? I kind of find them bluntly ugly. So I don't think I would want one of those. The ones that really appeal to me the most would be the Leaf, the Bolt, and of course the Tesla Model 3. But here's the problem. The Leaf and the Bolt are both small car hatchbacks. So I really like that format. I really, really do, but their pricing doesn't make any sense to me. And what I mean is, if you look at the Leaf, the base level Leaf, the S with the smaller 40 kilowatt hour battery, $31,600. Stepping up to the S Plus with a larger battery, which gives you a range of, I think it's 253 or something like that miles, is $38,000. A Bolt base price, $37,495, and that's about a 253, something like that, range, right? Excuse me, 259 mile range. So the upgraded Leaf has approximately the same range, but is more expensive. Getting the upgraded Bolt with a better equipment and things like that is $43,000. So upgraded Leaf, $38,000. You get the Mac Daddy of it, $40,000-ish, $43,000. The Bolt, you're going to cross $42,000 before rebates and everything else. And I am not taking into account any of the state or federal tax credits in this. Okay, this is just base price. The Model 3, this is what blew my mind. First off, I think it's a beautiful vehicle. And it's a small car, but it's not a little hatchback. It gives a slightly more, let's say, upscale view, right? Range is 263 for the base model. 263, so it's slightly longer than the others for $30,000. All right, so we're talking about an $8,000 savings to get the leader in electric cars with a slightly better range. Long range version, 353 mile range, is 39. So I can get a Model 3 with the longest range that exceeds the Bolt by not quite 100 miles for the same price or less. Why would I not buy the Tesla? So I think the Bolt is really cool. I think it offers that hatchback is really a flexible option, right? In terms of getting people and cargo in there. I really do love it. But it's not upscale. It is not something you want to drive around and try to impress a client with. For example, the Model 3 is for less money. It's a really, really powerful argument. So the next question is, how do I drive? And that's probably the biggest thing. Now, I mean, first off, if I got an EV, I'd have to clean out my garage, right? We don't park cars in there right now. We've got a lawnmower and a bunch of crap in there. So I'd have to clean it out and be able to plug in or have an electrician come out to upgrade it so I could have the fastest charging possible. But mostly, day by day, I fill up my car and I'm going to drive it probably for a week or two before I need to fill up again. We're talking about that, 300 mile-ish range, something like that. Sometimes less, sometimes substantially more. Certainly during the pandemic, I'm not driving as much as I used to, but I drive mostly just around town, running errands, doing showings, or a few minutes of interstate travel, not much, 15 minutes, and that's about it. So that little thought got stuck in my head of, well, wait a minute, a 250 mile range that's a week for me. So if I could charge it every night, that's not really an issue. The thing that sticks in my brain is about once every 3-ish months or so, I take a trip that is longer. Either I'm going down towards the beach or I'm heading up to the mountains. So I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. So the beach down near, say, Charleston is 209 miles. So a little bit longer than the range on, say, the Leaf or the Bolt, certainly more than the Tesla Model 3. And then if I head up to the mountains, we're talking about 95 miles, 2 hours, maybe something like that. So well within the range. The one to the beach kind of bothers me because I don't want to get there and feel like, oh my gosh, I've got to plug in immediately. That's my stress. Certainly during the winter, when cold temperatures affect battery life, how much range you can get out of it, you're running the heat a bunch, or during the summer where you have to run the air conditioner, and that's going to shorten down your range as well. And a lot of those range issues you don't know until you actually live it. What's real life going to be range-wise for these EVs? So at a cursory glance, the Tesla is absolutely the best buy. I could get equal range to the Leaf or the Bolt for substantially less money, or for approximately or still less, I could get 353-mile range, the long range Model 3. At 353 miles, I start to think that's an awful lot. I'm not going to take a trip to, I don't think, Texas, across the country, up to Niagara. And if I do, we'll probably take my wife's vehicle where we can just pour gas into it and keep on going. I don't think EVs have gotten there yet, right? I think the new solid state batteries that are coming out are probably pretty close to what we're going to need to totally replace petroleum. But if I was taking a long trip that was going to be maybe multiple days, like maybe Niagara, something like that, I'm not sure I would take an EV because I would be forced to stop and fuel up, right? Charge up before I continued, whereas with a petroleum car, I could just put some gas in it and keep on trucking within about 5 or 10 minutes. So my thought is, I want to know your thoughts. I want to know your thoughts. If you own an EV, how much has range anxiety played into it? If you take trips on the weekends, like day trips away, how much has it impacted your decisions? Do you end up driving another car? Do you see the electric vehicle as a 90-95% vehicle and you take another vehicle on longer trips? Is it that I'm just making an issue where there's not one? So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave me a comment below. I told you I had an opinion strongly one way or the other, and right now my opinion is not. Okay? I think my next vehicle will probably be a compact-ish mid-size sport utility, something along the lines of a CR-V or Rogue, something that still has a gasoline engine in it, but lots of flexibility, hatchback, and some room inside with the most modern technology. I hesitate to make that jump to an EV because I can't afford two vehicles just in case I want to take a long trip that exceeds the range of the EV. So I'd love your thoughts. Let me know below, and I appreciate you watching. Thanks.